All right, so get ready because we're diving into some UFC predictions.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and
Okay, yeah.
you guys have been all over the odds for this Kevin Holland Reinier to Ritter fight
UFC
at
311.
UFC 311, and
Well, it's got
it's
us.
January 18th.
Yeah, January 18th.
Can't come soon enough.
Can't get here soon enough.
Absolutely.
This one's got us intrigued, man. I mean,
Yeah, it's a classic.
it really is.
You know, striker versus grappler matchup.
Yeah.
And the odds makers seem to think that it's anyone's game.
Yeah. I was looking at Benny Sports, and they've got them both at Negash 115. I mean, that's basically a coin flip.
Yeah.
So before we even get into, their styles, what does that tell us right off the bat?
Well, I mean, it screams uncertainty, right? Holland has, that crazy 81-inch reach
It's wild.
and a
dude.
highlight reel of knockouts
Yeah.
and submissions.
Yeah,
22 finishes total.
it's impressive. But then you've got DeRitter, who is just like a submission specialist, right?
He just smothers guys. Like 12 of his wins
Yeah.
are by choke or armbar, and then he's got this relentless takedown game
Relentless.
that can just drain you.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm already seeing why those odds are so close.
Yeah.
But if I'm just picturing this fight in my head, right?
Yeah.
Holland wants to stay upright.
Right.
Dancing around, popping that jab in and out, and DeRitter's like, how do I close the distance?
Yeah, how do I get a grip?
Yeah.
Get a hold of this
Take it
thing?
to the ground.
Absolutely.
You got it. So Holland, at his best, when he can dictate that range,
Mm-hmm.
keep DeRitter guessing with that unorthodox striking.
Absolutely. And, DeRitter, on the other hand,
He
he thrives in that clinch,
He
right?
thrives in the chaos
Yeah.
of a clinch.
You wear him down.
Wear guys down.
You're looking for that takedown.
Hunt for that takedown.
And it's like, once DeRitter gets you down, he's not just lying there. He is actively hunting for that submission.
Absolutely.
He's not content to just control. He wants to finish the fight.
It's watching a python constrict its prey.
That's one way to put it, for sure.
I mean, it's scary, but
But, Holland's not
yeah.
totally helpless on the ground.
Right.
We've seen him scramble, even pull off some submissions himself.
He's got him.
Yeah. The question is, can he consistently defend against somebody like DeRitter,
Right.
who's so good?
Who makes grappling an art form.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, their last fights, they kind of went in opposite directions.
Mhm.
Holland lost to Roman Delids
Right.
via TKO.
But Dulit's a beast, though, right?
Yeah.
He's a unique beast.
He's a powerhouse.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that Holland just crumbles against any grappler.
Right. Context is key, right?
Exactly.
Like, you can't just look at the outcome
Exactly.
and DeRitter coming off a submission win
Mhm.
over Gerald Meerschaert.
Yeah.
So do we read into those results, or are they just like, one piece of the puzzle?
I think they're clues, not
Yeah.
prophecies. We can't just assume because Holland struggled with Dulit's power
Yeah.
that he's going to fold under DeRitter's pressure,
Right.
you know?
Totally do.
And similarly, we can't just assume because DeRitter tapped out Meerschaert, who's known for his ground game,
Right.
that he's just going to easily submit Holland,
Right.
who's dangerous everywhere.
Yeah, he's a wild card.
Yeah.
So recent fights we will considering, but not the whole story.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
I like it. Okay, let's talk winning strategies.
Okay.
What does Holland have to do to get his hand raised?
Well, distance management's got to be key, right?
Yeah.
He's got to use that reach, keep DeRitter on the outside. Make him pay for trying to close in.
Jabs, deep kicks, all that.
Yeah, all that. Anything to frustrate DeRitter's attempts to clinch.
And if he does get clinched,
Oh, man.
fight like hell to break free.
Got to get off that fence.
Stay on his feet.
Yeah.
And DeRitter.
Well, I mean, obviously,
Close the distance.
close the distance. You get this to the mat, right?
Turn it into a grappling match.
Make this a grappling match.
Wear Holland down against the fence.
Strip him up.
Drag him down.
Wherever it takes.
Yeah, once it hits the ground. DeRitter's submission game is a serious threat.
For sure.
All right, so the source material we have is calling for DeRitter win by submission in round 2.
Okay.
Before we unpack that, though, I'm curious, what stood out to you when you were, analyzing these fighters?
Yeah.
Anything surprise you? Anything that you were like, oh, wow.
I think what impressed me the most is just how both of these guys have evolved.
Oh,
Holland showing more willingness to engage on the ground, not just rely on his striking, and DeRitter, while still a grappling master.
Yeah.
He's been working to improve his striking defense, so he's not just a target if the fight stays standing.
that's fascinating.
Okay.
Okay, so back to the prediction, DeRitter round 2 by submission.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that make sense to the experts?
Well, I mean, statistically, de Ridder just has the edge on the ground.
Yeah,
He's proven he can control and submit high-level opponents.
right.
And while Holland has shown improvements, his losses have often come against guys who can take him down and keep him there.
Okay.
Plus, both fighters have a history of ending fights early.
They do. They're finishers.
Yeah.
So that's starting to paint a clearer picture for me.
Yep.
Now things get spicy because they don't just predict the winner, they suggest some bets.
Okay.
They like de Ridder to win straight up at plus 140. They think the fight doesn't go the distance at negative 150.
Which makes sense given their finishing abilities.
Right.
Both these guys can.
They can end it early,
Absolutely.
but then it gets real specific. De Ridder by submission at plus 200.
Okay.
And here's where it gets wild.
Okay.
A hedge bet on Holland by KO at plus 120.
Interesting.
Before we bring down the logic,
Right.
part 1 of our deep dive comes to an end here. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with part 2, where we'll unpack those betting suggestions and try to answer the big question, who are you leaning towards in this epic matchup?
Welcome back to the deep dive, folks.
All right, so we are back. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around this hedge bet on Holland by KO.
Yeah.
I mean, if the experts are predicting a de Ridder submission, why even consider betting on Holland to win by knockout?
Well, it's all about managing risk, right?
Okay.
And recognizing that even in a stylistic matchup like this, sometimes upsets happen.
Yeah.
De Ridder's striking defense has gotten better,
Yes.
but he's still primarily a grappler.
Right?
So if Holland can keep this fight standing
Yeah.
and land one of his signature power shots...
It could be lights out for de Ridder.
Absolutely.
So even though the overall prediction favors de Ridder, that Holland knockout potential is just too enticing to ignore.
It's too enticing, especially at plus 120.
Especially at plus 120.
Yeah.
That's juicy.
It's a high-risk, high-reward bet.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a potential upset play,
Okay.
Holland by KO is worth considering.
So we've got the straight bet on de Ridder, the fight doesn't go the distance bet, and this intriguing hedge bet on Holland. But they also suggest de Ridder by submission at plus 200.
Yeah.
Walk me through that one.
Well, this one really plays directly into de Ridder's biggest strength.
Yeah.
He's a submission machine.
He is.
We've seen Holland struggle against high-level grapplers
Right?
in the past. So if de Ridder can execute his game plan, drag Holland into deep waters, get him on the mat,
Yeah.
that plus 200 payout could be very, very nice.
It's like they're saying, yeah, Holland is dangerous. But if this fight hits the ground,
Yeah.
it's de Ridder's world.
It's de Ridder's world.
And when you look at, their styles, their recent performances,
Right.
de Ridder's historical dominance on the ground, I mean,
It's hard to argue with.
yeah, that plus 200 is looking pretty nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've broken down the betting suggestions.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to the fight itself.
Okay.
What are the key moments or exchanges that you're going to be looking for? Like, what are the ultimate deciding factors, do you think, in this matchup?
For me, it's all going to come down to those early grappling exchanges. Can Holland stuff those initial takedown attempts from de Ridder?
Right.
Can he create space and get back to his feet if he does get taken down?
So basically, round 1 could be a huge indicator of how the rest of the fight is going to play out.
Exactly.
If Holland can keep it standing,
Yeah.
he's got a real chance.
He's got a shot.
But if de Ridder can establish his grappling early, get those takedowns, start working for submissions, it's going to be really tough for Holland to turn the tide.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be so fascinating to see how Holland approaches this fight.
Yeah.
Like, is he going to be super aggressive with his striking, end this thing early?
Right.
Or is he going to try to play it a little safer and use his footwork and his movement
Yeah.
to try to avoid de Ridder's grappling altogether?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
I know. I'm so curious.
Holling's known for that unorthodox style.
Yeah,
So he could come out with a game plan we haven't even considered.
that's true.
Who knows?
Okay, so the early grappling exchanges, Holland's strategy, all crucial elements.
Yeah.
But we got to remember, as much as we analyze and we predict,
Yeah.
this is MMA. Anything can happen in that octagon.
Oh, absolutely. One perfectly timed punch.
Yeah.
One scramble gone wrong, and the whole fight changes in an instant.
It's true.
That's what makes it so unpredictable.
And so exciting.
And so exciting, exactly.
And on that note, round 2 of this deep dive comes to an end.
All right.
But we're not done yet. We'll be back with the final round of our analysis, where we will take everything that we've discussed and try to answer the big question, who walks away with the W at UFC 311.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned. All right, so final round of our Holland versus de Ridder deep dive.
Mhm.
We've broken down the styles. We've looked at the odds. We've even, you know,
Explored some risky bets.
yeah, we got a little crazy with those bets, but now it's like
Yeah.
prediction time.
The moment of truth, right?
Yep.
And I gotta say, even after all that,
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence.
Really?
I think this fight's that close.
I'm with you, man.
And unpredictable.
Part of me thinks Holland, that unorthodox striking,
Yeah,
his ground game has improved.
it has.
He could give DeRitter some serious problems.
Yeah.
But then I remember,
You remember DeRitter's grappling?
DeRitter's grappling is just
Relentless.
relentless, and his ability to control opponents and submit them, I mean,
It's like it's beautiful.
turns it into his kind of grind,
Yeah.
you know?
And Holland has shown that he is vulnerable to that kind of pressure
Yeah,
in the past.
for sure.
So, I mean, where do you ultimately land if you had to pick a winner?
Oh, man.
Who are you putting your money on?
If I had to pick, I'm going to lean slightly towards DeRitter.
Okay.
I think his grappling advantage is just too significant to ignore.
Yeah.
I see him, wearing Holland down, taking him down, eventually locking in a submission.
I think that's a fair assessment. And while I wouldn't be surprised if Holland pulled off the upset, I think I'm also leaning towards DeRitter, probably by submission in the later rounds. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tense tactical fight for sure. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of back and forth grappling exchanges.
Yeah.
Probably some moments where it looks like Holland's finding his rhythm on the feet.
Right.
But ultimately, I think DeRitter's relentless pressure will be too much.
We're both leaning towards DeRitter, but with a healthy dose of caution.
Always. Right.
This is MMA, baby.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. That's what makes it so compelling, right? We've got two elite fighters, completely different styles, both hungry for the win. I mean,
It's a chess match.
it is.
A battle of wills.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for those of you listening who are you picking Holland or DeRitter, head over to our website. Let us know your predictions. We'll see who's got the best crystal ball.
Yeah. And no matter what happens,
It's going to be a banger.
it's going to be a must-watch. January 18th. Can't get here soon enough.
I know. And that just about wraps up our deep dive into Kevin Holland versus Reinier DeRitter. We hope you enjoyed it. The analysis, the predictions, the
Chaos.
chaos, the energy as we tried to make sense of this epic matchup.
It's been fun.
Until next time, keep exploring those fight cards. Keep placing those bets responsibly, of course, and keep that curiosity burning. We'll catch you in the next deep dive.
See?